Arsenal's game yesterday. For sure, the game plan was okay, and I give a lot of thanks and praise to Mikel Arteta for the good game plan. He came in a formation of a 4-2-3-1, encountering PSG with a formation of 4-3-3. But what we saw yesterday, the midfield, Arsenal's midfield was imbalanced. It wasn't balanced yesterday. There was some imbalance in the midfield as far as I saw, because Martin Lewis Kelly was playing with Declan Rice in the double pivot. We could think, or we thought, that Kelly could dictate the tempo, could start transitions, could do anything, but we didn't see it yesterday. We didn't see it in Budapest. Okay, let's say he's still a young player, still maturing, and the occasion was a very big occasion, and more so encountering a very good side in Europe. So what we saw yesterday, he played Hincapi and Mosquera. Remember, Hincapi and Mosquera, no one can play as an inverted fullback or another side hybrid who can come in the center of the middle, in the middle of the pitch, to allow the two double pivot players to swing across the opponent's edge or in the final third of the opponent. So what we saw yesterday, there was some imbalance. Declan Rice didn't play a lot of ball carries yesterday, as far as we, according to the way we know him. He delivered, yes, but not to our expectations, because we expected him at least to make something like 7 to 6 ball carries, serious ball carries, which we didn't see yesterday. They were forced to sit back by force. For sure, they were forced. So he played Kai Havertz, reason being Havertz could play a link-up play, dropping deep in the midfield and then linking up in the striking line edge. That's what he did. So when yesterday you saw it, everything, the way he played, the way they executed their duties on the pitch, this wasn't Arsenal. When you look at the statistics, they had 19 shots. That was PSG with 19 shots, and then 5 for Arsenal. Shots on target 4 for PSG, 1 Arsenal. 72 ball possession, 72% ball possession for PSG, Arsenal 28, 847 passes, complete passes, Arsenal 311, 93% accuracy, Arsenal 71%, 11 fouls for PSG, 16 fouls for Arsenal, 2 yellow cards for PSG, 4 yellow cards for Arsenal, 0 red cards each side, and offsides, Arsenal were caught in offside offense or offside position 3 times, while PSG didn't, and corners 11 for PSG, 3 for Arsenal. So when you look at the game, what I could think, Mikel Arteta didn't build a good structure for oppressing the opponent. He built a good structure for opposing the opponent, blocking the opponent across all edges, but he didn't leave a path for him to score, like for a counter-attack. I would say if you're sitting back, you would have played a counter-attack. Like if you remember Kai Havertz's goal in the 50th minute, it was a counter-attack. He ran away across all opponents and he went solo, scored the goal. So I thought by so doing, he would have been with a player waiting at the edge, so that when Arsenal takes the ball, they run box to box to the other goal and score, of which I think Martinelli's late substitution was also an issue in this game. He would have brought Martinelli when the game is still 1-0 down, because PSG couldn't be patient sitting back. They were oppressing, they were coming in numbers, whereby you needed a player who can get the ball and get them unaware transition-wise and runs the ball up into the net. So I thought Martinelli would come when the game is still 1-0 down. This was another error made by Mikel Arteta, because he's the only player, Martinelli, whom he has, who can run with the ball across all edges, who can run, who is fast towards that pace, that speed, who can beat opponents by speed. If you remember Madrid, let's talk about Real Madrid, is the way Real Madrid plays. It always doesn't dictate the tempo of the midfield, doesn't play in the midfield, no link-up play, but they only use counter-attacks and runs. So when they deliver to Vinicius, Mbappe, or anybody else, they can just run and then punish the opponent in that way. Mosquera's penalty foul incident came in a manner of where, let me say, it was a 1-2 touch. Mosquera had marked Kvaratskhelia very well, because whenever this guy could get the ball, Kvaratskhelia, they would come 3 or 4 on him. But yesterday, what we saw in Budapest, it was a 1-2 touch when Mosquera was on body to body with Kvaratskhelia. So when Kvaratskhelia played the ball, it was a 1-2 touch. When Mosquera rotated to come and close the gap, the guy had already gone, so he was left with no option other than to foul him. Otherwise, I give credit to Mosquera, to Hincapi. They played very well, encountering such guys, Kvaratskhelia, Desire Doe, Dembele. It's not an easy subject. It's not an easy job. It's very tough and rough. So the other thing I saw, it was Skelly did not play holding midfield, the exact midfield. We saw Skelly as if he's a back, is a defender in the low block. There were like 7 players in the low block sitting back yesterday. That's what we saw in Budapest. Then credit to PSG. I think maybe they had some challenge, because Kvaratskhelia was a bit injured, of which we saw he was injured. He wasn't on his right day. Otherwise, the substitution for Kvaratskhelia left some controversy, though after he explained, Luis Enrique explained that he was injured. Because when you see Goncalo Ramos' substitution, I think, let me say, it was a late substitution per se. Because reason being, Arsenal had allowed PSG to encounter them. They allowed to sit back and give respect to PSG, of which I thought he would have brought Goncalo Ramos earlier on the pitch to see that he looks for a goal. Remember, when you have a striker on the pitch, a typical striker, remember, when PSG is playing its game, it doesn't have a typical striker. In the alignment of 4-3-3, on the forward 3 or the forward line, we always see Dembele, Desire Doe and Kvaratskhelia. There is no typical number 9 or typical striker. I thought he would have brought Goncalo Ramos by the time he made an equalizer of 1-1, because Arsenal had accepted them to attack them in a way they want, in the manner they want. They had seated back in the low block, Saliba, Maglares, Hincapi, Mosquera, Declan Rice joining them, Skelly joining, and everybody on the pitch. They even played 11 players behind the ball. So I think Henrique, at least here, he failed to understand this philosophy or dynamic of the game. Maybe, as you know, finals are not easy, not always easy, because at times you have few minutes to think and decide. You have to watch the game, you have to think for the game, think far, think anything. So I don't think Arsenal would have reached even extra time if he had brought Goncalo Ramos earlier on.